But it's a market that's falling rapidly. We have a lot of stocks to address as well. So we'll quickly move on now. Mr. Sharma is with us. Sir, first of all, Diwali greetings to you, your team, and all at home. And we wish you a wonderful new Samvat as well. Having said that, now I come to the performance. And I remember that, this was something that you had indicated in our earlier conversations as well. But the market is wondering why so much pressure on domestic sales while exports are picking up. What really happened in October?
Well, good morning and happy Diwali to all of you. Actually, it has been a smashing festive. Though it started a little bit tentatively before Dussehra, but by the time festive actually closed, it's been, I think, the best ever festive after COVID. At least I can say that from our point of view, that our retails have been the highest ever in this period. And the right frame of reference actually is to compare like for like. It is to compare the festive of this year, which is about 30 days. There's a little bit of a tail of festive still going on in the north, but the 3rd October to 31st October with a similar period last year, which is 15th October to 10th or 12th November, something like that, because that is the right frame. And if we compare from that frame, then our overall sales has been double digit. Our area of focus, which is the top half of the industry, which is the 125cc plus segment, has grown upwards of 20%. We have sold over 200,000 Pulsars, which is like way, way above the last high which we had achieved. And even three-wheelers has had a smashing month with about 56,000 units of retail. And I think the previous festive was 45 or 46,000. So a very big difference. The EV business has soared. We've had tremendous sales in the two-wheeler side, touching almost 36,000. A lot of places, units, a lot of places are facing stock outs right now. There is a little bit of stock imbalance. The EV three-wheelers is over 7,000 units, which was, doing about 4,500, 5,000. So when we look at retails, actually, it's rather good news. But if you look at just October to October, it doesn't suggest that, because people are, and particularly if you look at the wholesale sales to the dealers, because October, whenever the festive falls within the month, October then becomes, at least for us, a destocking month, and so will November be. So we look to decode the performance and how we are faring. We look at like-to-like comparison on a retail basis.
Okay, all right. Hi, Mr. Sharma. Good morning and good to see you, Ben. We've taken that clarification on board. So you're telling us that the numbers, the domestic numbers in particular, let's take that piece out of the way. The two-wheeler and three-wheelers, because of the difference in the retail and wholesalers. Otherwise, you're saying demand is strong. You have hit various records. So that will reflect in November as well, right? You'll see some part of that good work that will reflect in November. It's not as bad as it's looking at in an absolute number. Is that correct?
No, at a retail level, it is a very, very strong performance. In fact, as we were entering exiting Q2, even as an industry where we had thought that industry would sort of clock 8% in this financial year, 6 to 8% is what we had said, it was trailing at about 5%. But now with this super performance in festive, and of course, there would be some bit of advancement of sales from November, December, because nowadays the festive has become, the peaks have become sharper. So, okay. But I think this has bolstered the industry performance, and I think the outlook then becomes positive at, this back to the levels which we were anticipating, about 8%. And in that, the construct is that the top half is outpacing rest of the industry by at least 30 to 50%, So it's actually good news that what it is indicating is that people had held back their purchases as they were entering the festive zone in September and then in October. And it all came through in the last 10, 12 days of October. So it suggests that the industry is in good shape.
Sir, we are hearing you and trying to really understand. So I think one point is very clear. You're saying that the retail numbers have been very good. Wholesale has a destocking issue because that, the channel needs to be cleared up. on retail per se, just so that we have the numbers, could you give us the retail growth for the month of October?
Again, I won't look at the month of October, because if I give you the retail numbers for October, they are in the 30% range, because it's an unfair comparison. Because in this October, both the festives, Dussehra and Diwali, occurred in October, whereas last year only Dussehra was there. So the right frame of reference is to look at the festive of this year, which is 2nd October to 31st, and 15th to 12th November, which is then covers both Dussehra and Diwali. If I take that frame of reference, then the area of our focus has grown upwards of 20% in retail terms, which is the 125cc plus segment. EV two-wheelers is a triple-digit growth. It's almost doubled, more than doubled. Retails have more than doubled over the last festive. And three-wheelers has also, grown at about 13-14%.
So that's helpful, sir. Again, the other number that we'll kind of hold on to is you're saying that 125cc and above, which has obviously been Bajaj's stated, target market, that is where you have grown 20% in retail terms, if we sort of look at the like-to-like festive season. So that's another clue we hold on to. But now let me ask you about the 125cc and below, which I know is not your core target, but I think that's also a segment where you were looking at a lot of potential disruption with launches like the Freedom 125, right? So just take us through what's happening in the 125cc area as well, and what your projections would be in that side of the market, the entry-level segment. What should we expect in the months to come?
So I think, Subi, you're referring to the 125cc, the below 125cc, that is 110cc, that is what it is there. There also we have grown, but we've grown in single digit. Our strategy has been through product and innovation to upgrade the 110cc buyer, particularly the one who is, at the upper end of the 110cc. And that we have been relentlessly pursuing through various product interventions. And the biggest disruption was the Bajaj Freedom, which is 125cc. But it is really targeted not just at the 125cc, but at also the 110cc. It is targeted at all those customers. They may be residing in the scooter segment or in the 100cc segment or the 125cc segment, who are rather more sensitive to fuel economy. And because, Bajaj Freedom halves the cost of operations. And it has had a great month. We have retailed about 17,000 units. We have dispatched about 30,000 units. And we are in a sort of a stock out situation. In many cities, for example, Mumbai and Delhi, where the penetration of the CNG network is quite good, we are already finding that within the first month or so, because really September was the first month where we had stocks in the pipeline. And we are already finding that it is commanding a share of up to 9 to 12% in the 125cc segment. So we are very hopeful that this will continue as we continue to sort of get into more and more territories which have got CNG network.
All right, Mr. Sharma, very quickly, on the EV two-wheeler part, you had indicated the way you all have grown your market share, which is good. It's 22% odd. Could you tell us what is your current updated number? Because it appears y'all and TVS are going pretty much neck to neck, though y'all have gained market share big time, in the last 9-10 months or so.
That's right. When we opened the year, it was about 11.5%. We are at about 20% plus. And we've had and that is basis Vahan. But as you can imagine, the crush of retails has been so high that everything is not getting reflected in Vahan, but that is the case, I'm sure, for everyone. We have a very strong momentum in our retails, and we are making in another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we would be introducing a best-in-class product, which would be taking aim at a segment where we are lagging in share. And when we will hopefully with that and with subsequent introductions, which will unfold over December and January, we will have a very, very potent portfolio. And I think we should continue this trajectory of sales performance and keep improving our position.
All right, so you're in second place right now. You're holding on to that.
No, if I just look at Vahan, I would say it's a very close third, because I think it's
Close
just
third
about
with TVS.
1,500 units, which is separating the number 2 and number 3.
All right, the domestic numbers are still looking a little bit muddled, though you're sounding very, very confident and optimistic. So we'll take that, in the month ahead as well. But exports is definitely looking good. And that's the bright spot in these numbers. Exports are getting better. What about Nigeria? Earlier it was 15,000-20,000, then it moved from 20,000-25,000 odd. For the last month, what was the number from coming out of Nigeria?
Yeah, like we've been saying, that exports is on a steady improvement path. Nigeria last month jumped up to about 33,000 retails, which is, you rightly recall that it was 25,000 in September. So that's very good. It's a very good sign. But Latin America has done extremely well with the 20% growth. We've also recorded, in the last 12 to 18 months period, I would say, the highest retail numbers in places like Bangladesh, Philippines, and a host of other countries. So all these things will continue to drive the exports business smartly on the recovery path. But, one point which I would like to make on exports is, if you take the year-to-date growth, it's 9% in volume terms, but it's actually 15% in revenue terms. And that captures the fact that the mix led by, markets in Latin America and parts of Europe and Asia have started to really do much better. So really, when we look at the revenue growth and obviously the EBITDA growth, then it's much, much higher than the volume growth.
Okay, all right, Mr. Sharma, we'll leave it there. So good luck. Thank you very much for sort of putting all of those numbers, both local and exports, in perspective for us. We wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.